Good evening. It's Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight's episode, KHADERGATE Part 2, the lawsuits. I am Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. And tonight,
let's get it popping.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, KHADERGATE Part 2, the lawsuits. We'll discuss some of the lawsuits ongoing against those that sought the investigation. Good evening, folks. Thank you. If you're joining me tonight, thank you. I'm Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, KHADERGATE Part 2, the lawsuits. But first, I'm going to actually start off with something else. Yes, I will go into KHADERGATE. I most certainly will. And I'm not all over the place. But I do want to talk about some other things shortly, or briefly, I say, and then I'll get into the lawsuits that Mike Cater has filed against all 6 of these city council members who signed the letter that I read on part 1 of KHADERGATE, the letter that was sent over to the Inspector General. Also, the Inspector General, Liam McLaughlin, is being sued by the city council president. But I'll go through some of the documents, some of the court documents. I'll read what's in them, and then we'll discuss. But first, has anyone seen Alberto? Where is Alberto? Alberto Velasquez, the president of the CSEA union, the largest union in Yonkers and Westchester. CSEA represents state and local employees in government, as well as school districts, child care, and private sector. Can I get into the union? In 2010, there were about 300,000 members. It's a lot. I wonder what them dues look like. Largest constituent unit in American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Statewide officers are Mary E. Sullivan, the president. Executive Vice President is Denise Berkeley, Secretary Richard Bebo, and Treasurer Nicole Meeks. CSA is made up of 6 regions: Long Island, New York City, Southern Capital, Central, and Western, with 375 locals, which are each local chapter, and more than 1,000 units. Locals have an important role to build the union, protect and improve terms and conditions of employment of membership, and protect individual rights. The president, that is Alberto Velasquez, the local president is ultimately responsible for everything that goes on in that local. Locals assist individual members with grievances, notice of discipline, collective bargaining, and so forth. Why did I bring up the CSEA? Well, because they are working without a contract. I want to shout that out. I want to let it be known. They need a contract. I have reached out to the President Alberto Velasquez, and he said he would meet with me this week. I didn't hear from him. I reached back out. I finally located Mr. Alberto Velasquez. He texted me back to tell me he was hopping on a plane to Puerto Rico and he would be back Tuesday. Well, some of my sources, some who are members of CSEA, said that is a frequent trip of his. Every other weekend he's heading out to Puerto Rico, though they're having trouble locating him or even getting any answers. So please, Mr. Alberto Velasquez, Velasquez, when you get back to, these guys love Puerto Rico, don't they? Are you in Somos? When you get back from PR, know what I mean? I'm from Salinas, by the way, Ponce area. If you get back from PR, it's a nice tan, coming back to this cold weather, though we had a good day today, you missed it. Please, can you make sure that you give an update to the members? They would like to know what's going on with the contract. Sincerely, Freddy Vasquez. Moving on. And again, I'm going to get to KHADERGATE Part 2, but moving on. One last thing. I saw a post that someone shared, and it was the annual brunch for the or the annual brunch hosted by the YCPTA, the Yonkers Council of PTAs. Now, they didn't have any mask on. Someone shared it and said, our kids want their mask off too. You guys get to enjoy it. You have no mask on. I've even shared pictures of not members of that organization, but state officials in classrooms while kids wearing masks. They had no mask. There are a lot of parents that are upset about this mask mandate, and they would at least like it to be optional. Supreme Court has ruled it to be unconstitutional and illegal. And there are school districts that are either already given the option to not wear it or will move forward with making masks optional after the winter break. All right. So I'm hoping that the YCPTA steps up, because we are looking to kind of be vocal about it here soon. A lot of parents, I'm one of them. And I'm going to go through this real quick. Something's funny here. When I go through this, you'll laugh. Maybe you won't. Anyway, Yonkers Council of PTAs. Each of the Yonkers public schools is represented by a PTA unit, although I'm not sure if all of them have one. Meetings are held by each school according to a schedule set by its executive board in conjunction with board bylaws. The mission: to support and speak on behalf of children and youth in the schools, in the community, and before governmental bodies, there we go, the mask, and other organizations that make decisions affecting children. The masks are affecting children psychologically and medically. They are. I can present to you information from valid, credible medical sources, okay? If you don't want to see it, you're refusing to. So I just want to mention that. Another part of the mission: to assist parents in developing skills they need to raise and protect their children. Oh, thank you. And you actually need to do a little bit more of that, man. We need some help here. To encourage parents and public involvement, and this is why I'm mentioning it, because I'm the public and I'm a parent and I'm getting involved. I have skin in the game. To encourage parent and public involvement in the public schools of this nation, PTA is first and foremost an advocacy group. Advocacy group, okay? So we need to advocate for our families and our children, okay? Advocacy group in all areas of children's education, because they always believe our children deserve better. Yes, and maybe you guys got to work a little harder. And I'm going to tell you why. You're going to laugh in a minute. That's why they probably created the Yonkers Parents Seeking Solution, right? Started by a few parents here in the Yonkers School District. President Carmen Goodstein, first Vice President Josephine, and pardon me if I don't say the last name right, Josephine Ciuli, sorry. Second VP, and I'm definitely going to mess this up, Marie Papanaganastu, and third VP, Andrea Vasquez. That's my wife. Yeah, it's my wife. Shame on you, Andrea. Shame on you. She is the third VP of the YCPTA. Although, why was she not invited to the brunch? You know, they had the brunch with the state senators and a lot of the elected officials. That would have been nice. She didn't get no invite. She's the third VP. Y'all just really trying to like ice out the Vasquez family. Oh, man, I'm too hot to be iced. Anyway, folks. Well, the final performance tonight. Mike Cater, KHADERGATE, Part 2.
Let's get it popping.
That didn't go the way I wanted to, but I wanted to let's get it popping in there. Anyway, folks, 2 days ago, I did a podcast on the current situation with the ongoing investigation into former City Council Mike KHADER. I did give a little background on episode or part one of the KHADERGATE. I did talk about how he was, set up in a conspiracy. It was a plot to assassinate Mike KHADER. Mike KHADER's character. And I broke down the plot, which started with an article created in the Yonkers Tribune. The guy doesn't learn. He was sued for that. And he's still creating rumors, information that was false. And someone who actually knew inside information, had inside information, could only concoct this plot. But he did need the assistance of others, including a mole in the former city council president's office. He was warned of this mold, but maybe like me, sometimes, we're too kind for our own good. Our niceness, comes back to bite us in the butt, So it started with an article from there. Councilman from the 5th District, allegedly, from my sources, Mike Breen, reached out to another gentleman. And out of respect, I will not mention this gentleman's name because I like him. I've spoken with them, and, I feel like he wishes that had not happened that way. And people make mistakes. So as long as you recognize it. But the other guys, they love it. It's not a mistake to them. This was purposely done. They reached out to the gentleman, kind of schmoozed him, I'm sure, made him feel good. Had him write a letter to the city council. And they sat back and waited, the 6 of them, excluding Mike KHADER, obviously. They were setting him up all the while. They're sitting there talking with him, laughing, saying, "Hello, Mike, how you doing?" In his house, posting videos on Facebook with his children, cooking food. So they waited for this letter to come in, but they also waited for another letter. And this was one that was going to be sent by the mole from the former city council president's office, his chief of staff. Her letter indicated or alleged that Mr. KHADER created a hostile work environment. That letter, along with the letters regarding the quid quo pro allegations that were created in the Yonkers Tribune, was enough to immediately get the council to draft a letter. But who drafted the letter? I tried to think about that. And there's some of the verbiage that I've heard Corazon Pineda use. But then again, she could be reading a script. So who drafted the letter? Either way, that letter went to arch nemesis of former city council president Liam McLaughlin, now Yonkers City Inspector General. I'm sure he was waiting. And immediately he launched an investigation. I read the letter that was sent by the council. I showed the signatures of the 6 city council members, and anyone with some sense of loyalty or dignity would be disgusted by it. And I tell you why. They could have simply said to him, especially the Democrats, especially Tasha Diaz, especially Shanae, they were working together on the housing ordinance. Are the people not the most important part of this whole process, of this whole system? It's supposed to be. But instead of going to Mr. KHADER and saying, "Hey, Mike, look, we got this letter," because they could have used that discretion. We got this letter. Look, we have to do the right thing, because I understand. I'm not saying do something that goes against, the code of ethics or the integrity of the position of the office, but at least give the man an opportunity to show whether or not this is true, particularly and especially because it was in the Yonkers Tribune. There was just a lawsuit. There was just a judgment issued regarding the Yonkers Tribune, and there are rumors and allegations that he creates and that he is not legitimate, yet they legitimized him immediately after that. They also based it off a letter. Look, it was written by someone who was going to be quite possibly his opponent. What would you do? Think about that. What would you do if you were one of those 6 council members, specifically a Democrat? Especially if you were in his home, playing with his kids. What would you do? Would you throw him to the wolves immediately? Would you throw him to the Republican inspector general who he beat for the position that he was holding at the time, who had a grudge and a vendetta? I thought Democrats are supposed to stick together. Republicans sure do. No, you wouldn't. You would say, hey, let's see what you have here. Now, if you cannot produce this by X amount of time, you leave us no choice, Mr. Cater. That would have been the right thing to do. But no, they were waiting for this letter. This was all set up. Everybody got something for it. And I explained that in part 1. I break down the plot. So the investigation gets launched. Leah McLaughlin issues subpoenas. Those subpoenas are then quashed, meaning they're thrown out by the judge. Although the judge did say that he has every right to issue these subpoenas, the subpoenas that he issued were baseless. But he went and issued new subpoenas, and he based that on what the judge has said, basically that he can issue subpoenas. Yes, because you are an inspector general. That comes with the job, buddy. But issue subpoenas that make sense. When you're looking to see whether or not he was getting free rent, a free office space, not having to pay rent, all you had to do was look at canceled checks and a lease. Was he paying the amount on that lease to Smith Bus Jacob consistently? If so, there's nothing there. But no, that's not what they did. They threw him to the wolves just before the primaries. Perfect. And look what they got. Look at them now. Shanae thought she was going to be the Westchester County clerk. Yeah, how cute. Tasha Diaz became the majority leader, although John Rubel wanted the position so bad that they had to create this position, or bring it back, I should say, a position called majority whip. Basically, he whips the party members and gets them in line to vote according to their policies, their beliefs, their democratic ways. So basically, everyone better vote the way John Rubel says. The Democrats in the city of Yonkers seem to be all screwed up. I mean, they can't get it together. I mean, I guess it's easy for the Republicans to get along when there's only 2 of them. But you've seen the infighting. Not just in what they did to Mike Cater, but look at them now. Look when they wanted to make, or when they announced that Tasha Diaz would be the majority leader. Although I agree with Shanae Williams, there's obviously problems there. And Shanae, you shouldn't have did that. She thought she was going to go ahead, sign it, whatever. I'm out of here. I go and become the Westchester County clerk, and I don't got to deal with that anymore. Out of sight, out of mind. But you're still here. You're still having to deal with it. Why? Because God don't like ugly. He does not like ugly. And you all guys will get the karma. I believe in that. I absolutely 1000% believe in karma. What you put out into the world, you will get back. The energy you put out, you will get back. There's an opposite and equal reaction. And that may be a lawsuit judgment against you because Mr. Cater has filed lawsuits. And there's a whole lot going on. So I want to update you guys because you're only going to get the most honest transparency right here on Basement Politics, nowhere else. I may bring you some live events like the other day when SWAT team stormed 334 Riverdale, but that's because I happen to be there. And anytime I do, I'm happen to be there. I don't go out to chase them. So I'm not going to bring you a bunch of that, but I will bring you the truth about politics and I will bring you transparency. And that's what I'll continue to do. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Let's take a look at statement of facts, preliminary statements. Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Westchester, Michael Cater petitioner against City of Yonkers, Liam McLaughlin, in his individual and official capacities as Inspector General of the City of Yonkers. I'm going to share that with you folks. How well can you see that? I'll be down here if you need me. Affirmation in support of order to show cause. I read that. I want to go down to preliminary statements. Statement. Petitioner notes that the at-issue subpoena is related to an investigation into Cater that commenced in late spring 2021. An earlier subpoena seeking essentially the same documents sought by IG McLaughlin herein was quashed by the Honorable Joan Lefkowitz, due to the failure of the IG McLaughlin to provide the factual basis for the subpoena. The instant subpoena, which seeks the production of documents by December 13, 2021, suffers from the same infirmity as the quash subpoena, a lack of factual basis for the issuance thereof. Accordingly, petitioner seeks the same relief herein and order quashing the instant subpoenas. Statement of facts. On May 18, 2021, 6 Yonkers City Council members in their official capacity sent a letter on the stationery of the office of the City Council to respondent McLaughlin, seeking an investigation into the City Council President, Michael Cater, Mr. Cater. Copy of May 12 letter there that I read. I shared that. You can see it. It's also on my page. In said letter, the council members formally requested that your office open an inquiry into 2 matters that have recently come to our attention and to that of the public regarding conduct of the City Council President, Mike Cater, see Exhibit 1. Again, I've shown that. According to the letter, the 2 matters involved an allegation regarding whether Mr. Cater had complied with the ethics code of the city and whether Mr. Cater had created a hostile work environment. Mr. Cater denies any allegations or suggestion that he violated ethics codes or created a hostile work environment. On June 3rd, 2021, IG McLaughlin issued a subpoena ducis tecum to Mr. Cater, calling for the production of wide range of documents. A copy of the subpoenas there. On June 16, 2021, petitioner commenced a proceeding to quash the June 3rd, 2021 subpoena. On June 28, 2021, the judge granted the application for the temporary restraining order. The TRO stayed petitioner's time to respond to the subpoenas and enjoined respondents from taking any steps to enforce the subpoena and proceeding with the investigation pending the determination of the petition. On November 4, 2021, the judge issued a decision and ordered on the petition. The decision and ordered is annexed here on too. So she quashed them basically. Okay. And then he reissued these subpoenas. In the order, judge, whatever, quashed the subpoenas, ducis tecum, dated June 3rd, 2021, without prejudice, stating, insofar as respondents have failed to make a threshold demonstration of the factual basis to support the issuance of the subpoenas, dated June 3rd, 2021, the subpoenas must be quashed. That's what the judge said. On December 3rd, 2021, Mr. Cater received another subpoena, Duces Tecum, requesting a number of documents to further the investigation requested by the city council members in late spring 2021. So why didn't the city council members drop it? Right there. Right? Why didn't they just drop it right there? The judge didn't find any basis for the subpoenas. Basically, she didn't find basis for the investigation because there was none. There's documentation, plenty of it, suggesting that this is all bogus. It's almost like they just close their eyes and say, I don't want to see it. Just keep investigating, but I don't want to see it. So this is obviously an attempt to keep Mr. Cater from winning the race for mayor. He authored the affordable housing. Had that passed, he would have looked like a champ. Why do you think Moranti didn't want to vote for John Rubo for majority leader? He said, we have 4, women of color, should be one of them. Why? There was just a woman of color. Not to say that there shouldn't be. I'm just wondering why that was his justification. I'll tell you why he didn't want Rubo. Same reason they didn't want Mike Cater in politics anymore. He doesn't want Rubo to look good or to get more notoriety or to build his brand because he wants to be mayor. And he knows Rubo's going to go for it. However, Rubo, the powers that be don't believe you're ready. It's going to be Nader. Yeah, it's going to be Nader. And Tasha, Assemblywoman, that's what I'm hearing. It's what I'm hearing. Look, anything's possible here now. Anything's possible. So that's why Moranti didn't want to support Rubo for majority leader. So there you go, Rubo. Trust me, when I got that information, it's pretty good. But I'm sure you know that already. You guys walk around with shields on your backs. You have to up there. Anyway, let's move on to some more stuff. Argument. Petitioner seeks an order quashing the subpoenas Duces Tecum issued on December. And it is ancient law that no agency of government may conduct an unlimited and general inquisition into the affairs of persons within its jurisdiction solely on the prospect of possible violations of law being discovered. Right. Because they haven't discovered anything, especially with respect to subpoenas. And they state case law there. As noted in the statement of facts above, an investigation into petitioner was initiated when the Inspector General received a letter from council members requesting the IG to open an inquiry into 2 matters. The letter, however, is free from any showing that there is basis for the inquiry. To warrant the issuance of subpoenas is furtherance of an investigation undertaken in consequences of receipt of a complaint or otherwise. There must be a showing that there exists some basis for the inquisitorial action. Right? So that's my whole issue with the John Rubo quid quo pro letter, because they say there's nothing there to even look at. But with Mike Cater's different. What is different? They didn't present it to the judge. Who are they waiting to show it to? In fact, Rubo is more of a probability that there is something going on there. And on tomorrow night's podcast, I will be talking about how someone who was arrested for grand larceny, stealing over $30,000 through credit card transactions and withdrawals, listed her address at the same address as John Rubel's A Perfect Solution, John Rubel Consulting, Inc., which is a credit card processing company. Just think that's interesting. What a coinky dink. And I'll be discussing that tomorrow. But he's got a lot more there that the Inspector General should be biting on. It's a lot more meat there. Pause. But he did nothing. He did nothing. Also, in the letter that Smith Buzz Jacobs wrote to the IG, if you can comprehend, he says Smith Buzz clearly states that council members called him up to say they apologize basically for involving him in this and his law firm. However, there was political pressure applied. What? So the only reason they moved forward with this was because of political pressure, Liam? Who applied that political pressure? That's what you should be investigating, Liam. Not blowing taxpayer money to assure that Mike Khader does not come back and become the next mayor. Folks, that's all this is about. You could believe me or not. So can you, John. You're not ready. That's what they're saying. You're not ready. You're not ready. The letter simply provides in conclusionary terms allegations into conduct by Mr. Khader without providing any support for the undescribed and unidentified allegations of misconduct. But it's it's a bunch of writing. There's again, they quote case law there. In the November 4th, 2021 decision and order, Justice Lefkowitz quashed the subpoenas, the original June 3rd subpoenas on these grounds: a failure to make a threshold demonstration that there is factual basis to support the issuance of the subpoenas. Nothing has changed since the decision, and there has been no factual basis disclosed for conducting the inquiry and issuing the subpoenas again. As such, petitioner is likely to succeed on the merits as petitioner succeeded previously. Not quashing the December 3rd, 2021 subpoena will result in irreparable harm by granting IG McLaughlin a court-sanctioned ability to abuse his subpoena power by permitting him to continue to improperly issue subpoenas without the requisite factual basis, the required. Irreparable harm would also result by compelling petitioner to provide voluminous documents that seek information regarding his private practice of law and other documents that predate his taking office as a city council president. In addition to the relief sought herein, petitioner also seeks a temporary restraining order pending the determination of the petition by the court. Under the facts of this case, such harm is imminent and will be irreparable. The need for such drastic release is that the investigation is ongoing and IG McLaughlin continues to improperly use subpoena power. To date, the date for responding to the December 3rd, 2021 subpoena is December 13th, 2021. Accordingly, without a TRO, the harm which this proceeding seeks to avoid will have occurred before court intervention. No prior applications for the relief sought hereon in this matter has been made by the petition in any court. So that's one set of documents. I want to read to you also because, in their lawsuit, they're trying to defend it, Liam McLaughlin's position, the city, by saying that Mr. Khader signed off on it when they were, making a decision on the inspector general. But I'm sure he has to, and anyone there has to give a little, right? Sure, in his mind, he said, if I, I'll go with this and allow for IG, for Liam McLaughlin to become IG now that I beat him, maybe I can get a little something back. Maybe they'll make it easier for him. Think about that. The guy you just beat is still going to be around. He's still going to be there in City Hall, and you're going to have to see him every day. And you know he is friends with most of the people there who are not friends with you. Now, who was the one working in a hostile work environment? So anyway, so really quick, I just want to mention that the person that wrote the letter regarding the hostile work environment after the letter was out took medical leave. You can now locate them at DPW with a nice cushy job there. Yes, you get rewarded for these things. You do. As said before, the entire Silly Council is bought and paid for by Pimp Master Spano. Yes, Johnny Limo says that every podcast. And, you know, they're definitely bought and paid by somebody. And it's obvious by the decisions they make and by the legislation they seek to pass and introduce. Now, when it comes time for the community, they will introduce legislation. They will name a street, a month, or a sandwich at a local deli in your honor. Sorry, Nader will never be mayor. The Spanos have never respected him. Just ask Nader how he lost chairman of the Independence Party. Well, if I ever speak to him, I will. But that's word on the street. Word on the street is that Nader, and if you're a smart business individual, it's not about who you like or don't like. It's about what gets the job done. What's the best course of action? They don't believe John is going to win. That's what it is. Not that he's not ready, but he's not winnable. John's lost his likability if he ever had it. Time to get those outreach people out of there too. You know who you are. Breen's going for Nader's spot. Yeah? I heard Tasha Diaz was the one, and I don't know. Listen, the sources that I got that from, especially about Nader and Tasha Diaz, they've given me good information. Their information has been good. I have no reason to doubt them. We'll have to wait and see, folks. Will Mike Cater be joining the race for mayor? One is a Republican and one is a Democrat. Yeah. But at the end of the day, does it matter? No one aligned with the crooked machine is viable to be mayor. Who would you like to see mayor? I would like to know what the people want. What does the people want? We need to start saying this is who we want. Why do we allow the party insiders, the machine, to decide the candidates? Let's decide the candidates. Because if we don't have a real, involvement in that, ultimately we're deciding on individuals who we didn't really have a voice in or, involvement in choosing to begin with. I mean, I guess you do, but really, you don't. And many times the primary is the general election. Yeah, Fred for mayor. John would like me to see me mayor. Yeah. It'd be a case study. If I was to ever be any elected official, it'd be a case study. I would want to see what it'd be like to have someone there that actually wants to help the people, because I genuinely, and I believe this for a long time now, and I don't want to generalize, so I'm just going to say most elected officials, I don't believe are in there for the right reasons. I think they're very self-serving individuals, right? I mean, it's very tough to be in elected officials and move up in politics. So if you're not someone that's very cutthroat, aggressive, motivated, right, and focused on achieving, you're not going to fare well. So it's just, you have to understand the type of character, personality that many times it takes, so I would like to see if an individual who would like to go there, and who would go in there and actually really have, a genuine, goal of helping the people and always just stay consistent with that. I don't know if they'll last long, but it'd be interesting to see that, Joe Pinion for mayor. Okay, there you go. Got one. You be on the same boat as Cater. Who's that? Who be in the same boat as me? What do you mean? Me if for any elected? Yeah, I'm already on the same boat because for one, they say that they believe that the Caters are paying me, which that's not true. But I'm gonna start asking for some checks. Johnny, make the check out to Basement Politics LLC. For $1,000, please. No, 5,000. What Rue was it? What's Rue getting? Anybody tell me what Rue getting? I think it's 5,000, right? I'll take 5,000. I'll give me like 45. Yeah. Well, I'm already, on the boat in terms of, being, a target. They're already not, they're already telling people not to work with me. And that's crazy. This is the truth. This is a true story. It's crazy that, you would advise people not to work with an individual that wants to help the community. But I think what it is, right? Although I've never ever said anything about I want to be in politics, but I think what it is that and this is in general with anyone who starts to, become maybe, known, and, people start to gravitate toward them. Maybe they start to think, oh, that's a person that could be a threat. And, he's going to have people supporting him. And we don't, so either if we can't bring him in to the fold, right, we'll try to buy him somehow, if not knock him out, right? Try to be a target. And so what they're doing is like, don't help Freddy, and I'm just trying to help the community. So you basically are, spiting the community. You're being spiteful toward the community just to impact me negatively. That's not going to work. That's not going to work because whether, they help me or work with me or not, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to, my guy or my whoever you are, I'm still going to do it. Do you not understand that I'm not even supposed to be here? Statistically, I'm supposed to be dead or in jail. At the very least, in the same corner. All right? Statistically, I'm just saying. So I beat odds. I beat odds that are probably greater than hitting the lotto. So you're not going to stop me. And and everyone should have that mindset. They're not going to stop you guys. They're not going to stop us. And so we have to propel forward. Have a mindset that it's done. It's over. That's just how I think. It's over. Let's go. We're doing this. And so, whoever it is, and we have to make sure that we go out and we get involved and we vote. And we vote. And we let our voices heard. And by the way, listen, I'm a big supporter of, getting rid of the mask mandates. I'm sorry, because I know there's a lot of people that are just, please don't judge me based on that, but you can wear yours if you like, that's fine. But, we need to, come together. So we're going to rally. We're going to have our voices be heard. We're going to continue to rally until they say, hey, this is going to be optional because I've been speaking to individuals. I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if they didn't tell me not to, but they are individuals in tasked with making that decision, or at least giving their opinion or their input, to make that decision. And they believe that it's that time. It's that time that the masks become optional because, our kids are suffering in the sense that at the very least that and this person admits this, that, they're not getting the same, they're not in their body, their immune system is going to be weakened because it hasn't been, taking in a lot of these germs and stuff like that. So, once they start going more without masks, you're going to see them getting sick, having bad allergies and things like that, which I do right now. That's why I been needing napkins. My allergies have been killing me. But yeah, so you will see some health issues. So, we have to come together and we have to actually go out and rally, okay, for whatever it is that we want. All right, let's go. Let's do it. And if you are interested in joining this rally and want more information, please reach out to me at politicwithfred@gmail.com. All right, just a side note there. Side note. You be on the same boat as Cater. Yeah, I read that one. You got tech stalled. What's that mean? What does that mean? You got tech stalled. I don't know what that means. I'm getting older, folks. You gotta remember. I really am. So I don't know what that means. You got tech stalled. But yeah, so we have to be vocal. We have to go out there. And so who do we want? Because if we don't, voice our opinion and, encourage these individuals that we would like to see, run, they're not going to be emboldened. They're not going to be empowered. They're not going to, be encouraged. They're not going to be, motivated or inspired to run. So let's start letting that be known. Let's start letting them know what we really want. We don't want you. This is what we want. Okay, we don't want you. And that's okay to say that. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look it up. Maybe text stalled. So yeah, so we have to be vocal. So hey, Johnny, if you you fund the whole campaign, I'll run. How about that? All right, you fund the campaign, I'll run for mayor. I don't know how many people will vote for me, but hey, listen. If you guys want me, I'll run for whatever. But really, I just want you guys to get out and vote. That's really what I want. So let's do that. Let's make sure we go out and vote. It's already 45 minutes here, so I don't want to get on too long. The Democratic Party was a good party at one time, but since Spano hijacked it with his own convicted felons, going downhill worse than Tammany Hall days. Yeah. Anyone know about Tammany Hall? Well, you can watch the movie Gangs of New York. They show a little bit about Tammany Hall. Basically, guys would go in there and get people to vote for a certain individual. They were paid, like gangs were paid to go and get people out there to vote. You be in the bar drinking, getting drunk and stuff. They find you. You didn't vote. Grab you out the bar, bring you to the voting polls and stuff, and you better vote for so-and-so, or we're going to kick your butt, right? So that's kind of what the person that made that nasty post about me, as being the wannabe podcast, is funny because they also want to be podcasted themselves, and I inspired them. But anyway, that's kind of what they do. They are paid by elected officials currently, to do community outreach, right? And this person that did the post about me, community outreach in the Hispanic community. And so we have to expose that. I don't care if you're not an elected official. If you're impacting elections here in the city of Yonkers, we have to expose that. So if you're encouraging, particularly specifically Hispanics, to go out and vote for the person that's paying you, not because that's the right person to vote, and they trust you because they view you as a leader, right? Then we got to expose you and let them know that's not someone you should be listening to, okay? And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And if you want to make a comment about me, again, make the comment. That's fine. Just leave my wife and my kids out of it because I think that's not fair game. But again, you could do whatever you want. But again, everything always has consequences, right? In life, you could do however you want, though. It's always how it works. Freddy, I will personally match dollar for dollar. How much would that cost a mayoral race? How much would it take to run a successful campaign? Right? I'm interested in knowing because I know Moranti spent, I'm hearing, close to $200,000, if not $200,000, on that race for District 6. You know why? He was going against Tim Hodges. He knew Tim Hodges. He's well liked. He's connected, right? But he won. He won because they did him dirty, Tim. And because of, other individuals around Tim, but he should have won that. And I wish I had seen Tim win that. I might say Tim for police commissioner. Just saying, I think he would do a great job as police commissioner. I don't know if he wants the job though. But hey, that's my opinion, right? I'm Freddy Pinion. That's my opinion. Allegedly, Spano fundraisers invite people and tell them to bring a check. And when they get there, they give the person cash and they write the check to the campaign. Oh, so like money laundering money, you're saying. So that's how they clean money, right? So if they get cash, right, they'll tell somebody, hey, bring a check or whatever, and I guess they put the amount and they give that person the cash or whatever, right? How does that work? I don't know. Laundering money, there's different ways. And by the way, I did mention it about the, interesting article I read about a woman who was arrested, principal at a Catholic school, arrested for stealing over $30,000 from the school, credit card transactions. located in the same address as the credit card processing company owned by Councilman Rubo. I just thought that was interesting. There might not be no connection except for the address. I just thought that was very interesting. It's a single family home. Just thought that was very interesting. Very, very interesting. 250. Wow. 250K. Wow. So that means I have to spend 125K. Do I want that? Look, man, I just really want to see change. However, my position, God will, make that happen. But we all have to get involved. This doesn't take one person. This is a true team effort, guys. If we want to make change here in the city, this is a long time coming. This is a long time coming. From what I hear, this has been going on for a long time. People are very tired of it. And it's incredible, some of the stories that I hear from people. I can't believe that actually happens. Right? But it's corroborated by other people. And I've seen things that I have to believe it. I have to believe it. But I think that time has come for true change. And maybe that's my whole role in this. Maybe not to be an elected official, but just to be this voice on this microphone here on this podcast and inspire others and motivate others and walk and protest with others side by side, whatever color you are, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want a good quality of life, great schools for our kids, a decent job that pays a living wage. We don't want to fear getting shot. We don't want to see people homeless and addicted to drugs whenever we're driving through the city. And not because I don't want to see them, just put them somewhere where we can't see them. That's not what I mean. I mean, we shouldn't see people in that condition, period. They should be helped. And these are things I think that regardless of what color you are or what economic status you are, you can agree with. So we have to come together because that's the only way this change is going to happen. It's not going to happen individually. And I can't do it alone, and neither can you, but we're going to do it together. I'm Freddy Vasquez, Basement Politics. Please join me tomorrow. I will be back. I love it. And I've been doing this every day now, but I love it. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. And again, I welcome your comments, complaints, concerns, suggestions, advice, and information. You can email me at politicwithfred@gmail.com. Try to do that instead of message me because I don't always see that right away, but I'll take it however you give it. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And remember, share the podcast. You will be automatically enrolled in the Dare to Share contest. Dare to share, because I know people don't always want to let others know that they've watched the show. So I say dare to share because I dare you to share it. I will announce a winner on March 11th. They will receive a $100 gift card. On July 11th, the one who shared the most will win $1,000 cash. $1,000 cash on July 11th. And I will announce it on that podcast. So make sure you share the podcast. You can win money. Sheesh, I'm doing more for the community than these freaking elected officials, ain't I? Jeez. Anyway, if you want to win, share. I'm Freddy Vasquez. Thank you. Say no to anyone close to the corrupt, dirty machine. Absolutely. Stay clean.
Let's get it popping.
I am Freddy Vasquez, and that was Basement Politics Unfiltered. KHADERGATE 2. Join me tomorrow as I come back on to discuss some more of this crazy city and the politics involved.
No! I was raised in housing. I don't think you were. I went to Yonkers public schools. I don't think you did. We can go on all night with this, honey.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddy Vasquez.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
No!
Game over.